by the man himself. He's back. Dave Coldwell, how you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. I thought I might as well hit you up. I mean, I was going through my IG friends list, through the stories, and I saw you training, mate. I saw Dave Coldwell doing press-ups to DMX. I'm like, I got to hit him up. I need that motivation.
Oh mate, listen, you've got to you get to my age now. I don't care. I think I'm past middle age actually. I'm 45. So if 45 is middle age, that means I live to 90. So that's not a bad in. So I'm probably past middle age now. So I've got to make sure that I step up my training, make sure that I keep well and stay alert and active for the kids. My kids in the gym. Got to keep them on the toes. So no good being immobile and not being able to do stuff, is it?
What do they say? They say health is wealth.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the hashtag.
Yeah, it is, and it's even more so these days, to be honest, with everything that's going on.
So talk to me, man. I know you've been remarkably busy over the past 2 or 3 months, man. I've been seeing you on shows, in corners, last minute call-ups in corners of your fighters. The team is looking strong right now. Jordan Gill, it's a mad thing. Hobie Price, it's a mad thing. Lerone Richards, it's a mad thing. It's a mazza. Talk to me, man. Talk to me about your fighters, man. What's happening?
Do you know what? I'm very happy. I'm very we're in a good spot. I've got 3 fighters in the gym, and each one of those has got so much talent and ability. But not only that, the work ethic is just right up there, and they're great people to deal with, great people to work with, and people that I enjoy spending my time with. So I'm in a very fortunate position, like zero stress when it comes down to stress that fighters can give you. I enjoy what I do. I'm lucky. The only thing is that we're in the same boat as everybody else. We just have to wait and be patient. And whereas normally, like Hope would be getting 7 fights in his first year, he's gonna have 2 fights in his first year, and then we move on. And then we have to do things like that. It's very difficult for fighters. I've managed to get Jordan and Hope out, which I'm very, very grateful for. Jordan damaged his hand in the fight against Bellotti, so he's just this week been back. Was it last week? Sorry, last week started touching with the hand again. This week started hitting the bag a little bit more and feels much better with it. So he's getting there. And we hope we're looking at him being out once more this year. And I'm just waiting on the announcement for Lerone Richards. We've been sitting on it for quite a while now. He's got a very big fight lined up. Frank Warren's delivered. So we're just waiting for whenever they choose to announce it. That's their gig, and we're just preparing. He's been preparing really well. He's slotting to the gym very, very well. It's a really good setup in the gym, and things are going great.
You mentioned announcement. Umar Sadiq, potentially, is that revisited, or is it, I can't say right now?
Mate, that fight was supposed to happen. It got put back. I think it was a matter of a couple of weeks. We asked for 3 weeks. We asked for it to be put back because Lerone's missus had a child. Obviously, he doesn't live with because he's living up here with us. His train goes back home to his family at the weekends. But when the baby's about to drop, your mind's occupied, and he wanted to be there for the birth, so we sent him back home. He had 2 weeks. Once the little boy was born, he had 2 weeks to gel and to bond with his baby, and then he was back in the gym. Obviously, in the meantime, Sadiq got offered the Chudinov fight, took the Chudinov fight, put up a great performance, ultimately lost. But as soon as he took the other fight, we then got a fight rearranged, scheduled another fight, another opponent, a bigger fight actually, and that's what Queensbury and Frank Warren did. They went out and got they understood that obviously with Sadiq taking that fight instead, Lerone needed to fight, so they got him a fantastic opportunity, and that's what we've been training for. You're talking about Sadiq fighting Lerone. I don't know what you're hearing medical wise, but the last that I knew, Umar Sadiq suffered a bleed on the brain. So he has more important issues to think about rather than fighting Lerone Richards. And as far as we're concerned, that's not really something that I would want even discussing until everything's cleared up with that. I mean, that's, you have a bleed on the brain. I mean, that's quite, very, very serious, and it's bigger than talking about, oh, is this fight going to revisit it? Is that fight going to? It's bigger than that. Let's let him recover, let him be healthy, and see what happens with him. And we'll carry on with our business. And if that fight happens down the line, then he must be 100% fine. And I don't understand, what all the circumstances are with that. All I got told is that he had a bleed on the brain after the fight, and that's why he was kept in the hospital. And so fighting wise is of no concern to me whatsoever when it comes down to that. It's just, let's get that man 100%.
Well, you mentioned it might be a bit too soon, obviously, because of medical reasons. I mean, you were in the corner for Dillian Whyte, late call up. It's a bit like my guy, Sacco, got a late call up to the England squad, man. You got the call up, man, in fight camp for Dillian Whyte's fight. What's that looking like in terms of the reschedulement of November the 21st? Are you going to be back in the corner also?
That's not my place to say. It's like, Dillian spoke to me mid-July about would I help him out. So I'm there for whatever you needed, but nothing got mentioned until the couple of days before, and I didn't get there until the Thursday, but nothing got mentioned until that, I think it was fight week. That's down to them, whatever, it's not my place to say, oh yeah, I'm going to be in so-and-so corner, or I'm not going to be in so. It's not my place to say. That's their business. That's Xavier's, because he's the head coach. That's Dillian's, because he's the fighter. If I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not, I'm not. That's just down to them. We have spoke since the fight, spoke recently, but as far as anything to do with the fight's concerned, and that's their call.
Wow, I think a lot of people are looking forward to the rematch also, and to see how things kind of pan out. I mean, Dillian Whyte, man, he's got that look in his eye again, like he wants to do damage to Povetkin.
Obviously, things didn't go to plan. That's heavyweight boxing. That's what can happen. And when you're a quality operator and somebody that's as experienced as Povetkin, that's as dangerous as Povetkin, and especially with his short mid-range punching, it's very, very dangerous. And that's where Dillian got caught out, and it wasn't a lucky punch. It was just that's heavyweight boxing. That's what can happen, and Dillian will be looking to set matters straight as far as he's concerned. But of course, Povetkin's going to be just as dangerous going into the rematch. So,
talk to me about a fight that you was part of the rebirth of. Derek Chisora announced on Halloween to take on Usyk. That's kind of ironic. That's on Halloween, man. Usyk's a spooky character, isn't it? So it's kind of ironic. How's Chisora looking for that fight?
Don't know. I've not seen anything of him. I've spoken to him on the phone. I've spoken to him via Instagram and things like that, and we've had one conversation on the phone about something else. But Derek lives for these fights, the big fights, the fights where he's got his back up against the wall and where people think he's gonna get bashed. These are the kind of nights that he lives for. What I do know that he's very, very fit. I know that he's very, very determined and is in the best possible mental place as well. I did a couple of weeks ago. Asked David how he was looking, and he was like, "Mate, he's really, really up for it. He knows exactly what he's got to do, and he is really, really fit. He's putting in the work, and he's living life. He's living the life of what of a fighter." That knows that he's got to give it absolutely everything. He's giving himself every chance. So I'm excited. It's a great fight, and I love Usyk as well. I think he's a fantastic fighter. I love his character. He's a cool guy. It's a good fight. It's a very good fight. Do you know what? It's the worst kind of style that you would pick for Derek. But also, Derek is the fighter that physically, if you want to know if you're physically able to compete in that division, Derek's a good test for you because he's going to make it physical. If Derek doesn't make it physical, then it's a one-sided fight. But if Derek can make this physical, then we're gonna understand a lot more about how far Usyk can go in this division as well. You know, there's a lot of. I understand when Usyk was a cruiserweight as such, he boxed at heavyweight in the amateurs. He boxed Joe Joyce and he beat up Joe Joyce. But he's I might be wrong, but he's a lot heavier now, or it seems a lot heavier. It looks a lot more mechanical now than what he did then. I'm wondering whether the weight, the weight suits him or not. I don't know. You know, some fighters, they put on that extra bit of weight and it just takes that little bit away from them. A little bit of speed, a little bit of fluidity, mobility. If any of that's been taken away from Usyk, then that's a disadvantage to him because he's not going to put on enough weight to all of a sudden become, the weight's not going to make him a dynamite one-punch knockout merchant in the heavyweight division. That's not a case of that. But it also can his body take it, as in injury-wise and things like that? Is he having more niggles? Is he, because of the extra weight? I don't know. These are all questions that we'll find out. Derek gets up close and they do a little bit of grappling, and Derek's hitting him on the shoulders, on the arms, top of the head, or the body shots. If he can get in them positions, then it's going to be interesting. But the key is if Usyk maintains his mobility and the speed of foot and able to control the range, then it's a tough night. Then it's a very tough night.
Would you make of Bob Arum? He's come out today and he's talked about Tyson Fury fighting in the UK in December, and then potentially Joshua, which has put the whole Trilogy fight in a massive cloud.
For me, I'm happy because when they talked about the Trilogy, I was like, I wasn't interested in it because Tyson bashed Deontay Wilder up. He bashed him up. He didn't just win the fight. He absolutely battered him. It was just completely one-sided. So for me, it was like, well, in the first fight, I think Fury lost 2 rounds. 2 rounds where he got dropped in. I thought he won the rest of the fight, and then in the rematch, he controlled every second of the fight. So really, I had no excitement about the third fight. And from my point of view, looking from the outside, of course, I couldn't understand how that was a good move for Deontay Wilder after what had happened to him mentally in there. He didn't just get beat, he was absolutely destroyed. And for him mentally to go straight into another fight with Tyson Fury without having a confidence builder, without getting that buzz back, I never thought that fight had happened. I always thought I'd be very surprised if they went ahead with it. So if that's what they're saying, I mean, there's a lot of talk. Nothing seems to be announced as such. But if that's what they're saying, that the Wilder fight's gone for now, then hell yeah, I want to see the AJ fight. Let's let's get that on. Yeah, but you see, I always thought anyway that the smart move would be to let Fury and AJ fight. Then you go and fight a winner, because styles make fights, and he ain't never beaten Fury. I think Fury just always knows how to take away that right hand. He's got the one shot, and he's a fantastic shot, but he's got the one shot. Take that away from him, Fury outbox him all day long, and then in a rematch he proves that he can fight him. He proves he can bash him up. Heavyweight boxing as such, anybody can beat anybody. Let's just say AJ beats Fury. Wilder versus Fury. Wilder versus AJ. If I'm looking after Wilder, I'm thinking, Wilder, you have a better chance of beating AJ than you do of beating Fury. So let that fight pan out. If AJ beats Fury, that's a better fight for you. But you've let it pan out. You say, if Fury wins again and you have to fight Fury again, then so be it. That's it. But you're giving yourself a bit of a chance that maybe you don't have to fight Fury again. Maybe you can you step back in is against somebody that stylistically is going to be easier for you to land on, easier for you to get the right hand off, and it gives you more chance of winning. Because again, like I go back to it, if he can't land that right hand, he struggles really, really badly. Going back to Mark Breland, I think Mark Breland's done a fantastic job with Deontay Wilder. I don't know the ins and outs. This is the problem, is when we're all on the outside, we don't know the ins and outs of relationships, how things really work behind closed doors. You know, fighters leave trainers all the time. I've had fighters leave me. Anthony Fowler left me. Everyone on the outside was, oh, that was a shock. You don't know how the fit is. And if the fighter doesn't feel like it's fitting, then maybe it's time. But I tend to think the way that Breland was treated after the Fury fight was disgusting. I don't think he should have been treated like that, where he wasn't allowed, you know, because he threw the towel in looking after his man. I think he wasn't allowed in the change rooms or something like that. There's all sorts of shit going off. So I was very surprised that Breland went back there after that. But obviously things have never healed properly, and the parted company. You know, like you say, if Wilder now has time to find a coach and just gel with a coach now, spend some time with him, it'll be better for him.
Well, would you make a Fury's claims that if Wilder ever got rid of Breland, he'd gladly have him on board? That would be something, wouldn't it?
It's just I don't know. It's just chatting it. I mean, in what capacity would Tyson bring Breland? Yeah, but in what capacity? Because he's got a great team. He's got a team that's worked for him before. He's got a team that works for him now. It's just something that he's saying as a soundbite, and it's sure. I mean, I don't know, but I would imagine that that's just something just to piss Wilder off, just to, you know, get into his head a little bit, maybe. Realistically, what would Mark Breland add to what
already
Sugar Hill and Andy Lee are doing? Then I don't know, but that's a few camp. I don't know what goes off inside there, but I would be surprised.
You've been in the game for a long time. You probably had to throw the towel in for a fighter of yours before.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that feeling after you've thrown the towel in and the fighter's not happy. I mean, how, as a trainer, how do you try and get them to see a bit of sense?
Well, that's what that's your job, innit? Is sometimes you take the flak. You know, if you throw in a towel, it's because you're fearing for the end product of that fight. You're fearing for what's about to happen, and you're trying to protect your fighter from that happening. It's like being a parent and saying you can see that this kid's no good for your daughter. Your daughter don't see it, but you can see it. You're protecting, and you're trying to break that. You're trying to stop what you think is going to happen from happening. You don't just sit back there and say, "I'll let it pan out," and then let them get it without even trying, do you? You know, you're going to try and say something, try and do something. The trainer in the corner is trying. When things start going shit, you can switch from trying to win the fight to trying to almost like damage limitation and trying to just get them through it. Or there's a point where you just think, oh, you can't get through it no more. It's about to get hurt. Throw the towel in. And if the fighter's in a position where he can complain straight away, but realistically he wasn't going to win the fight and it was, you know, we're only going to get more of a beating, you've done your job. And then the fighter can always turn around when people are saying, "Oh, you got stopped against so. You can turn around and say, "No, my trainer pulled me out. My trainer stopped the fight. I want to carry on." Fighter's pride, fighter's ego. Sometimes it can protect them a little bit more rather than when they get absolutely wiped out, because then that can be more damaging. Trying to come back from. Rebuild.
100%, man. That's a lot of sense, man. Dave, man, it's been a pleasure catching up, man. I was gonna get in contact with you after the Man United capitulation the other day, but I thought, nah, I better not do that, man.
Oh, you had to go there just because you've got 4 games in and you're doing well. Do you know what I mean? Come on, you've got a long way to go yet.
But I know that you've heard the hashtag before we go. No Thomas, no party. Thomas Party, midfield
Yeah,
general.
do you know what? Do you know what? I was asking my little boy about this. He's meant to be a player, isn't he? I mean, I'd never seen him before. Never really like seen him or what he's capable. But I've heard all of a sudden, everyone's telling me that this kid's a real player, like a top quality footballer. So I'm interested to see more about him. And you know what? Arteta is doing a great job and what have you, and Arsenal are playing some good football at the moment. But it's, can you sustain it? Can you keep it going? Or is it one of those where you're going to hit a bit of bad weather and you're all going to start sulking again and stop playing great football and start conceding goals? And then just, you know what I mean? What are you going to do? Because you Gunners fans, you like that. You know, 1 minute
we get
you're
gassed.
like,
We get
you're
gassed
happy.
easily.
Yeah, you get gassed, and the next minute it's like doom and gloom. It's like, you know, we'll see. It's a long season. It's a long season. I think it might be a long season for us. It might be a very long season for us, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Don't worry, Dave, man. You can get in touch with me after the City game, which is next weekend, yeah? Dave, it's been a pleasure. Dave Coldwell, Pep Talk UK. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you, Dave. Cheers, mate. Cheers.